Hey, how y'all doing today? We say Salem or Salam. We say Salem or Salam. Whatever feel more comfortable for you. I like to say Salam. You could say Salem. You could say Salam. It means how about that? This episode right here is not guilty. It's not guilty. Okay. If you know the procedure, let's get with it. Big shout out to this right here. These are the writings of the family teachings. As you see, you can take a screenshot of it, stop it, take a screenshot, teach your children. You're not going on warp speed, but I am the SP to the ARK, Special Ark of the Living Tabernacle. And we will proceed with the teachings of the Most High. I represent the Most High. The best way I could say is an angelic being. Other people say more righteous. You know, it's different ways that you can explain it to yourself. But I show you by my works. I show you by my works over a period of time. I show you by my works in every generation. We don't stop. Okay, so other people, they say what they say. I'm not concerned with that. We're going through the holy tablets right now. This big book right here, which will be your salvation and your deliverance from the turmoil, from the things that's going on. You will know what's going on. You'll be able to make the right choices. You'll be able to make the proper decision. You'll be able to stay on the Sabbath path. It's called Sabil. You will pay on the narrow road. You will go through the proper gate. You will have to navigate because you'll be there. You'll start to build and expand. It's called growth and creation. Okay, so this was the beginning. It says, lo. In the very beginning was the word. Nothing would exist if Anu, also called Elyun El, did not create it. And nothing was created except by way of Allahu Akbar. He was and is and will be the intellect, which is also called right knowledge, right wisdom, and right overstanding. He was not always that green scholar light or solar light, but created himself into a green light to be witnessed of his creation as El Elo, El Rab, sustainer of glory, illuminating the green light of Michael El from himself to rule Malakut, the highest of all the rabbis of the Anunnaki, the Elohim of the crystal essence, which is the splendor of beauty. The crystal essence became divided into two parts. 6. One was extremely pure and luminous. 7. However, the other appeared to the vision of the intellect to be inferior to the first. 8. The first was called light, the pure green light, the light of the Anunnaki, the seraphim, and those agreeable beings. 9. And the second was called fire, the impure amber light, the light of the Anunnaki, the cherubim, those disagreeable beings. 10. Of the first is to come noble and superior individuals. 11. The souls of the news bearers, the apostles, El-Masih, El-Mahdi, El-Mujaddin, and all the people of the right hand. 12. Agreeable things are created from the green light of the benevolent beings. The Anunnaki, Yahwehan, seraphim, and did manifest green, but in time, as the iron replaced the magnesium molecule, the pure melanin was lost, thus from green to rust. 13. Of the second, the fire was created. Malevolent beings, the Illuminati, which are the jinns, the disagreeable Anunnaki, the disagreeable Yoeans, who are the cherubim, who are a race of disagreeable Anunnaki, who were created before Zaka. These are followers of Tanish and Shakar, the Luciferians. 1/3 of these beings from Ilium were cast from their home in the 19th galaxy, Ilium, where the Akasha records are kept, as opposed to the Sijin, where the Azaric records are kept, to make a new home in the Orion star. The Orion star. Star constellation. Now we're talking about the cycles. 15. The first cycle was a dot in the universe. Then that dot became a line, and that line became a wall. That wall became a square, and thus geometry was created and dimensions were formed. 16. When the Elohim of the 360 degrees of being split into two beings of 180 degrees each. If the male child is agreeable, the female twin counterpart is disagreeable. If the twin female is agreeable, the male twin counterpart is disagreeable. The one must conquer the other. In this way was the disagreeable beings created, calling them twins. The creation of the Luciferians, or jinns, was the end of the first cycle. Number 20. The beginning of the second cycle was a half diameter of 7,000 years, in which you have what you call the angelic beings, being their agreeable seraphim or disagreeable cherubim. 21. They, the race of Noctas, were cast down and made to dwell on the second plane. 22. El Elo, the source, gave them rules and comfort until the end of the second cycle, or the 14,000 year after their creation. 23. At the beginning of the third cycle, you have the disagreeable cherubims, the agreeable seraphims, both of which are called Yahuans or Yahwehans, Jehovahans, and also you have the Adamics, which took 7,000 years. 24. After that, the Nuktas began to do disagreeable acts and disobey El Elo, who were the head Yahweh. The source condemns them. Nuktas, also called Lucifer, was an extra being on Terra, of which you refer to as extra terra astral or extraterrestrial. 25. Luciferians came out of a group of extraterrestrial beings called the Yahwehs, sometimes called Jehovah's. The Luciferians would interfere with the beings on the planet called Earth and passed himself off as gods. 26. The Luciferians, after taking their independence, were allowed to work with the Yahwehians together at one time to conquer certain portions of this planet. But one such Luciferian named Halal, son of Shachar, wanted to rule all the stars of the heavens, meaning all the Yahwehs. 27. Leviathan, or the Luciferians, are trying to gain control over this planet for many thousands of years. They are called the sex spirit force, also called porne. They're able to seduce and to deceive all those whose desires on earth, turning lust to luster. 28. Thereby attracting and controlling all with it, as Nicobar was seduced by Leviathan's power of lust. It is the death of divinity and the birth of mortality. This is why the Intergalactical Confederation quarantined the planet. Even or if enough entries was looking for freedom from the control of the Luciferians, the Intergalactical Confederation would remove these forces from the earth. 30. Yet humans love to lust and lust to love, expressing energy and motion, overexerting their emotions, bringing about their spiritual death. There is a group called the Satanists, who are not the same as the Luciferians. The other names are the Divines, Nahashets, or Chanas. These Satanists are more sadistic than the Luciferians and are also called Nukters, which is simply Satan spelled backwards. They are also called Shaitan Nifrim. They have supplanted themselves in every facet of life you can think of, and now have you naming yourselves after them. The Satanist seeks mind control and dominance, while the Luciferians seek to control the energies of others. They are best described as vampires who draw energy from others, called Dracula, Dracos, Dragus, or serpent dragons called Leviathan. These Luciferians are from a planet called Maldik, the 11th planet. This planet, called Earth, has Luciferians, Yahwehians, and some of them are disagreeable Elohims. They don't usually work together. However, they will come together if there are common interests. 37. They were the original 4 and 20 elders. There were 12 ex-Luciferians, the dissatisfied. The other 12 were agreeable deniers. This is why you have 12 satisfied and 12 dissatisfied. Shakar subjected all of them, Jehovahans, called Luciferians, to the chastisement of prediction, except the weak ones of the family of Elohims. These he pardoned and has appointed one of them, Halashi, to be their governor and to grant them a new law called religion. This was other than the Wabu which is sound right reasoning. When the cycle elapsed, the wicked sons of Tarnish blasphemed and committed disagreeable acts because their nature was intended to recalcitrate or to show defiance. 41. Anu El, the Most High, sent Murdoch, the son of Enki, and Damkina, who is Michael El, and the agreeable beings to admonish them and advise them. However, it was in vain. Murdoch was sent because he knew their nature, having been the disagreeable twin to his sister Baalat, who was agreeable. So in the beginning of the fourth cycle of the 7,000 years, you have Shutterfins, Shutterbins, and humans, later called you man, be they agreeable or disagreeable. You see, the cycle is broken up into fours. When the disagreeable beings was cast out, 1/3 of them was cast out from the 19th galaxy Ilion with Tarnish. Now you have the sun and you have the 10 planets: Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Titan, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, which are all your calculations of the planets. However, you shall now know the truth. Now let me continue. You have the sun and the planets Mercury, Venus, and Earth. Earth is the third planet from the sun, which is 90.3 million miles away. And the 93rd attribute of Allah is El Nur, meaning the light. The sun is the light, the 93rd attribute. And the number 90 and 3 million miles is the distance, and this is no coincidence. The sun is the bright morning star. The circumference of the planet Earth, which is the circle around it, is 24,896 miles. And that varies because you know the planet expands and contracts seasonally. This is a universal equinox and an earthly equinox. The planet Earth goes around the sun called solar, which is the center of the solar system. 65,300 Earth days. This varies because the hours in the days are not always 4 and 20, but can be 3 and 26 and 56 minutes and 6 seconds, and others. You would calculate that as one day when in reality it varies. The moon moves around the planet Earth 54 and 300 Earth days. Again, the moon cycle varies, and you call that one lunar year. So now you have this motion of the moon around the planet and your planet around the sun. And you have this whole galaxy or solar system, a central solar with systematic bodies moving around it. It moves around a larger mass every 24,000 Earth years. And of course, that varies in an equinox. So your equinox varies from 24,000 to 24,896 years. The planet Earth positioned itself in the location of a revolution of Earth in the year 1970, which was the end of the third cycle as you know it, the end of the moon cycle of water, and the birth of the sun cycle. Also, the birth of this writings set to renew the Earth's history. As you see, the wise Ritzians, the Anunnaki, have made land to equal 1 mile per year, and the circumference of the planet Earth is 20 and 4,896 miles. It takes 20 and 4,896 years that a cycle takes place. The wise round the figure off into 4 cycles of 6,000 years, which you call one equinox or an age. The other years are in constant speed and movement of the planet, making it right and exact. They, the elders, have made land 1 mile to equal each year, of which time is to renew our history. What happens is we have 4 cycles, and in this cycle called an equinox, thus you have, or you will see, a single cycle is gone, and now we enter the quad cycle. By that I mean the quad cycle is this: assuming your sun and your planet is moving, it doesn't move perfectly around. It moves in a egg-shaped motion. It is broken up into points 1, 2, 3, and 4. These are 2 points where the planet is far away from the sun, called the solstice. Thus you have 4 seasons: winter, spring, summer, and fall, called seasons. Now, this is just the planet and its motions around the sun. But note, when we take your solar system and cause it to revolve around a larger mass, which is called the universe, there also are 4 periods. The furthest period from the sun is called the silver periods, or the silver ages, number 74. This is the moon cycle. You have 2 silver or 2 moon cycles, 75. Because of the magnetic pull that the sun has, the Earth's elliptic motion speeds up and slows down. Your planet is not going around and around at the same speed as you may think. You will see that each one of these periods, because of the number 4 and 20, has been divided into 4 6,000 years cycles. The first 6,000 years period was from the first silver moon cycle, which was the first cycle that the Earth was furthest away from the sun, to the first gold sun cycle, which was the first cycle that the Earth was closest to the sun. The second 6,000 year period was from the first gold sun cycle to the second silver moon. The third 6,000 year period from the second silver moon to the gold sun. And the fourth and final 6,000 year period is going to be from the second gold sun back to the beginning, the very first silver moon. In the fourth cycle, the Luciferian race made war upon the Anunnaki of pure green light. The Elohim triumphed over the race of jinn and captured one of them that was under the age of maturity, named Iblis, meaning despaired and rebellious one. His other name was Lucifer, being the liberated Luciferian. Iblis was educated amongst the Anunnaki, and he improved by degrees so much that he was honored and made a teacher of the Anunnaki. You must remember that Lucifer, being one of the most rare Luciferians, was almost all in all polarized. Lucifer was a product of a mixed marriage because the son of the two beings, the reptilian Tarnish, raped the Anunnaki Maelida. Lucifer was part reptilian and part Anunnaki. This is why he was called the serpent that spoke beside the tree in the enclosed garden of delight. Thus, there were beings who appeared to have a compromising attitude or personality. Yet it was Lucifer who appeared to be headstrong and have a disagreeable nature and an uncompromising attitude or personality. However, from his loins came Jerobeans called Gaborium, the majestic mighty ones. The strength of the Luciferians made them able to better deceive the seed of Adam by their physical human-like appearance. And he, Iblis, aspired to become the guiding light, the ruler, the sultan of all the stars of the heavens, the prince of the cherubs. In his heart he sought the very throne of Anu. He was called Samael, in short, with a vapor of self-complacency and conceit, which is his real nature of Iblis. Next, he wanted to scale the skies to try to control and rule all the stars, the Uaeans, and the angelic host in the heavens. Very often he would incite unnecessary arguments, pretend his excellence by means of deceitful illusions and diabolical stratagems. 99. Once, some of the company of the angelic Anunnaki were going to have a look at the preserved tablet, which is the holy of holy scriptures, upon which contain the record of the past and the future, called the Menir, illuminated records, or the Akasha records. On their return, Iblis perceived marks of grief on their foreheads and asked them for the cause. They replied, "This day we have obtained the information from the tablet that one of the Anunnaki or Seraphim, Mukarabum, the companions of Michael El, of the mansion of the eternal, should soon be affected with ejection and everlasting damnation. Everyone is afraid for his own sake, and we request you to pray that the guardian Anunnaki may allow none of us to fall into this misfortune. We are very much terrified and dismayed." Then Iblis answered them, saying, "Let not this even disturb you, for that judgment referred neither to me nor you. I have years ago been aware of it and have not communicated to anyone." The pride and arrogance of Iblis did not allow him to weigh the words of the Anunnaki. At that time, the blessed proclamation reached the hearing of the inhabitants. The echo of the success of Zaka reached their ears. On hearing the news, their depressed ejaculation prevented their beings from the kindled anger of an unhallowed, disagreeable doer, Iblis. And he spoke, saying, how can mortals, created of dust, claim to be a being of superiority? For I am created before him of fire. So, for Anunnaki, having guessed the events to come from the sons of Tanish, said to El Elo, will you make a mischief maker in it, one who shall shed blood? 110. This was repeated by the Cushites of the planet Earth. By the commandment of Anu El Elo, Makael, son of Enki and Damkina, the grandson of Anu, who would descend to the fourth plane. He advised and warned the race of Nuktas who have gone astray from the straight path. This took place before the physical war was raged on them. It was a mental war. And the agreeable Anunnaki were victorious. This, however, would not be the last time that the forces of agreeable and disagreeable would battle. Be not arrogant of our knowledge. Take counsel with the ignorant as well as with the wise. For the limits of knowledge in any field has never been set, and no one has ever reached them. Wisdom is rarer than emeralds, and yet they are found amongst the women who gather at the grindstones. Be diligent as long as you live, always doing more than what is commanded of you. Do not misuse your time while following your heart, for it is offensive to the soul to waste one time. And we say, not guilty. You be the judge of that. You read it, analyze it, research it, and in time, I will go over and explain it after we have a lot to be reading. What is read? Read means to re-add. So reload